Of you out there might know I speak German. I studied German. I went over to Germany to visit some relatives who had some really incredible stories. What I might want to start this video out uh, with is by saying a little bit about the people who inspired me to do this and the things I learned along the way. You see, it wasn't so much for me choosing a major as it was really kind of a spiritual journey in a way. There was so much more uh, in getting to know the people and getting to know a little bit more about my family and where I came from that that made the experience so extremely rich for me. And today I'd like to talk a little bit about a man who really gave me a lot of inspiration to learn German and to go over there. I met him when I was in high school. He lived right next door to us in our small town. And we knew him as Ernie. He was a pretty, I'll say old man, not to be insulting to people, because we're all living older now and we're all getting more done later in years. But I'll say he was about 98 when I think I first got to know him. And I would have been in high school, as I said, and just marveled at how he could keep a garden and keep it so weed free when he was, that old. And most of the people I knew who were that old were either dead or sitting in nursing homes. And didn't have much left of their physical or mental capabilities. So I thought, well, maybe there's something to this guy. If I learned some lessons from him, maybe then I could also enjoy a long life that would be full of, not just adventure, but I would be able to advance in years and still have my cognitive capabilities and my physical abilities to do good work that was meaningful to other people. I still remember the cucumbers and everything else we got from his garden just exploded with produce. And I've taken up gardening too as a hobby. I really enjoy it, and attribute a lot of that to this man. His name's Ernie Kaler, and I will say this: I'm out at the graveyard now, and I want to be respectful because these are people who lived their lives. They deserve to be left in peace. And what's this button? Oh, nothing. Sorry. And when you're talking about people's lives, I think it's important, well, for me first to disclose or say, look, I'm going to do the best I can to give an accurate account of what they said, what they did, who they were. If the facts are wrong, it's not me intentionally misrepresenting something or using somebody to sensationalize their life to make it a great story or to become popular off of them or something like that. I think that would be that would dishonor them and disrespect them and make myself look like a total ass too in so doing. So I don't want to present these people as total heroes, but as people who were human, who had human flaws, but were really heroes to me. Like I said earlier, there's people who were born around the turn of the last century. I'll say this, the 1800s, that I got to know, that I guess I had envisioned my life as having children and grandchildren and being able to tell them about these people. But so far I haven't met anybody who's wanted to have kids, and that part of my life may just be unfulfilled. I don't know. So I'm thinking maybe social media is one way then that I can go ahead and do this thing that I've wanted to do in trying to preserve a little bit of the history and tell the stories of these people, at least what they meant to me. Now I don't know how to flip this stupid thing around with the button, so I'm just gonna kind of turn it, and hopefully people can see with that camera lens here. The man's name is, the last name's Kahler, spelled Kahler. It's I don't know, not a super common last name, but it's one that arises from a place that my family is also from in Germany, or one of the places, which is Schleswig-Holstein. And the city of Kiel is where this man is from. If you look on a map, Kiel, I think. It's a seaport on, I believe, the North Sea. Anyway, this is his grave marker. I guess his proper name was Ernest F. I think his middle name was Frederick, which would have, I think, been after Frederick Wilhelm. I'm not sure. I'd have to, double check on that. But as you know, Schleswig-Holstein was in the Prussian Empire. I'm going to talk about that a little bit. Maybe not in this video. But yes, he was born in 1888 and passed away in 1990. Anyway, as you know, the Germans, the Prussians, were, at least according to Americans and a lot of other people, responsible for starting 2 world wars. And the Empire of Prussia was done away with, completely, banned, made illegal after World War II. I believe it was the Treaty of Potsdam, which is a place in Berlin where the Allies got together and basically told Germany, here's where your borders are going to be now, and we want no more of this Prussian militarism. We've had 2 wars. We're not having any more of it. So this was probably, the icing on the cake, and the end of an era that essentially was responsible for Mr. Kahler coming over to the United States. I remember him telling me he was, I think, a private in Kaiser Wilhelm's army. Get this, I'm a Gen Xer. I'm gonna be, as I get older and older, I think the story gets to be more and more interesting, that I actually personally knew somebody who served under Kaiser Wilhelm of Germany, the man who was responsible for starting the First World War. Okay. I remember asking Mr. Kahler about this. He had showed me a picture of himself in his soldier's uniform and told me, I said, "To hell with him." I always chuckle because it kind of sounds like helmet, like a soldier's helmet. I said, "Da helmet him," but that was his German accent. A lot of Germans couldn't pronounce the th sound with, so they mit, da helmet him. Anyway, he defected. Essentially, I didn't get the whole story about how that all happened. I believe I might be getting this confused with some of the stories of my great-grandfather defecting too, but it involved some forging of papers or using of somebody else's name or whatever the case may be to get passage to a ship, because they checked and controlled all that stuff. They didn't want anybody getting out of the Army, and there were pretty severe penalties for it too. In fact, I had asked him a number of times, "Do you ever want to go back to Germany and just see what the place is like nowadays?" And he said no. They'd arrest me and put me in jail and try me. And I couldn't get it through his head. Look, this was the 80s. To me, anyway, World War II was ancient history. And the government that existed when you were in the Army no longer exists. It's different. It has no authority anymore. I mean, Prussia is essentially illegal, but the threat, the fear that they instilled in him was so real, he would not believe me that something bad wouldn't happen to him. If you went back and showed him papers, they would know who he was and what he did, and that he defected from the Army. And it just kind of tells you how strong that German sense of national loyalty was, and how ingrained that wasn't in the people's minds. And I think as we get older, we lose a lot of that. We don't have that in our country. At least we don't have an understanding of what that means. We don't have an understanding of what it means to get the hell out of a country like that, But I think a lot of these immigrants came over. They substituted their national loyalty for loyalty to the United States. This was their new nation, and they made really good citizens because they felt that strongly. And I will recount some stories of my grandparents and other people too. But I tell you, just talking about Ernie Kaler is going to fill volumes and volumes. Things I've wanted to say for a long time, things I've wanted to get out there in some format, in a way that it's just not just a silly, fun video doing some dancing or something like that to entertain people. No, this is a really meaningful part of my life. It's something that I want to use social media in order to connect with other people that have some tie to this American-German experience, who have some interest in it, not just the language, the culture, but the history, and who can also give me new information that I don't have right now on this, that will make my life richer and kind of tie up a bunch of loose ends that are still in my mind about a lot of these things. And when you have a passion for something like the German language and culture, it doesn't just go away. It's not just something that you learn once and forget. I mean, I don't understand how people can learn German, for example, and forget it, or Germans can learn English and forget. And I think maybe for them, maybe it was just a subject matter. And apart from the fact that I'm linguistically gifted. My mom told me I was speaking full sentences at age 1. I've always had a really good memory and retention for language, but in spite of that, just, the genetics I was gifted with, I have an interest in it and a history such that the different words that I learned in German are embedded in different stories of my life. So I can think back about conversations with different people and remember, oh yeah, that's where I learned that word, or okay, I remember talking about this thing, and that's how that concept came to light. Not all of them. Okay, I'm not saying I'm some kind of a genius, but a lot of them, I can remember. And trying to tell this stuff to my mom, she would just be bored. She would think, oh God, that's boring. Who wants to listen to that? I don't care, and I don't have any attention for that. Okay, I get it. After years and years of being told I'm boring and pedantic about it, I'm kind of starved to find people that are actually interested in this. I think it's natural to want to share your stories and find other people to connect with who maybe are interested in language too, and not just German. I've had interest in other languages. I've just never found quite the connection with other languages that I did with German. So, anyway, with that having been said, I would like to wrap this video up. I see it's going on 17 minutes. Thank you for watching, if you watched all the way to the end, and I will continue to update. I'll try to get pictures of these people and some more interesting scenery other than just me being a talking head, watching my lips flap for 15-minute segments or whatever it is. Okay, take care. Talk to you later. Bye.